Caitlin Clark, right? Like, she's lighting things up. She's probably made more in NIL money, or could potentially make more. The money in the WNBA is non-existent.
Right.
Like,
but she could change that.
But can she?
Something went down privately in Indiana. Something that could flip what we think we know about the Fever. According to a few podcasters and online insiders, there was a closed-door meeting at Pacers Sports and Entertainment headquarters with billionaire owner Steve Simon, head coach Stephanie White, and top Fever executives. Nobody has confirmed what was said in that room. But if these reports are even partly true, it could explain a lot of what's looked confusing lately: the lineup choices, Caitlin Clark's role, and the sudden change in the team's vibe. People say when the money starts moving different, the power moves fast. And that's what this is really about. Money, control, and the most valuable rookie women's basketball has ever seen. Because if a billionaire truly said, "This is CCT from here on out," meaning Caitlin Clark's team, that isn't just a basketball opinion. That's a business directive.
I feel like your two Iowa teams left a mark on women's college basketball, but also women's basketball at large. Is that like kind of crazy to think about? Like, you were a part of something that was a catalyst for this like larger group.
I had heard about this Caitlin Clark, and I was like watching videos of her just like having like 40 points, like averaging.
To understand how it even gets to that point, you have to look at who actually holds power around the Indiana Fever. A lot of fans see the Fever as just another WNBA franchise. But behind the scenes, they're connected to one of the strongest sports business groups in the country. The team is owned by the Simon family, the same billionaires tied to the Indiana Pacers and Simon Property Group, the biggest mall company in the United States. At the top is Herb Simon, now in his 90s, a major name in Indiana business, but not someone running day-to-day moves. That's where his son, Stephen Howard Simon, comes in. Steve is vice chairman of Pacers Sports and Entertainment, and many insiders believe he's the real final voice for both the Pacers and the Fever. He stays quiet, doesn't chase attention, and doesn't need to. When you run something worth billions, you don't have to post to prove it. So when fans started noticing ticket sales slipping, ratings easing up, and Caitlin Clark not dominating the conversation like before, the word is the Simon family started watching closer. And when billionaires start watching, somebody usually gets called in.
Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier were named WNBA All-Star captains for this year's WNBA All-Star Game. The captains were chosen via fan vote, and Caitlin Clark received 1.29 million All-Star votes this year.
When Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA, she wasn't only a player, she was a wave. Her first season brought huge ratings. Jersey sales went crazy almost instantly. Fever tickets went from hard to give away to sold out. And for the first time in a long time, it wasn't just the Pacers getting national noise. The Fever were suddenly everywhere. Every deep logo 3 wasn't only a shot, it was advertising. Brands wanted her, networks wanted her, and kids everywhere wanted to copy her game. Clark was supposed to start a new chapter, not only for Indiana, but for the whole WNBA. But then the system changed, the coach changed, and the team's identity started to feel different. The logo 3s weren't the same. The highlights slowed. Indiana started playing more controlled, more careful, and honestly less fun to watch. Fans started asking, where did Caitlin Clark's freedom go? And quietly, inside Pacers Sports and Entertainment, those same questions were reportedly being asked by someone with a lot more power.
2 turnovers in a row, and Steph yanked me, and she was like, this is like a learning moment. Do we need that in this moment? Like, no. And then she subbed me back in. There was a play where I kind of got a steal, and like we're going in transition, and Kelsey Mitchell just like takes off down the middle of the floor. And so there's like 2 people kind of by her, and I literally like go to grab the ball, and then I like just dribble out.
When Stephanie White became head coach, her plan sounded clear. Run a balanced offense with structure and teamwork, not a one-star show. More motion, more roles, more system. Basketball purists respect that, but casual fans don't always stay locked in for it. And the result was Caitlin's role looked smaller. The system limited her deep-range style, and at times she looked more like a steady setup guard than the must-see phenom people expected. Now, to be fair, the team did improve. They even got to the playoffs for the first time in years. But while the on-court results got better, the business side started cooling off. Tickets dipped, ratings came down, and the non-stop viral moments slowed to a trickle. Because let's be honest, the WNBA's biggest draw isn't only winning. It's Caitlin Clark playing like Caitlin Clark. And according to new reports, that's when executives started getting nervous. When the money engine slowed, the people who own the engine decided to step in. And this is where it starts getting crazy.
I think it's a really big thing that Diana Taurasi got on the mic and she said these things about Clark after. It kind of, I don't know if it's going to change the viewpoint of Caitlin Clark from a lot of these old bitter, all these old bitter Bettys that are still in the league.
Based on comments that surfaced during a Fever fan livestream and then got repeated by several podcasters, an insider claimed Steve Simon personally called a private meeting with Stephanie White and top executives Amber Cox and Kelly Kroskoff. The alleged message was simple and direct: this is CCT from here on out. Meaning, Caitlin Clark's team. If that's true, it's ownership telling the franchise to rebuild the system, the brand, and the focus around Clark. The reason is obvious: she isn't just an athlete, she's a massive investment in media, marketing, and relevance. The rumor says Simon told them that decisions going forward must center Clark, her comfort, her usage, her visibility, and that it didn't land well with everyone. Stephanie White was allegedly one of the people who took it badly. The reports say she blew up at the idea of reworking her system around one player. And when Steve Simon supposedly answered, "You don't have to like it, but that's how it is," the tension in that building allegedly went through the roof.
You don't understand how hard it was for me to not throw that. And she's like, oh, I know, trust me. Everybody was like, we saw you about to throw that. But I think it's just like kind of a learning process.
This clip bothered me because if you watch that play where she didn't pass Kelsey the ball after Coach Stephanie White benched her for having a few turnovers in a row, that would have been a momentum shift.
Is any of this confirmed publicly? No. But here's where it starts matching what fans feel they've been watching. After that supposed meeting, people noticed odd signals. In public, Stephanie White praised Kelsey Mitchell as the main priority and called her the key piece for the offense going forward. But behind the scenes, whispers grew that the coach and front office weren't fully aligned anymore. The talk wasn't only about basketball. It was about who gets to decide. White reportedly wanted her motion system. Ownership wanted Caitlin Clark's team. And in a billionaire-owned franchise, the billionaire usually wins. Still, to her credit, White didn't just cave. She stuck to her approach. And as fans got louder, the rumor machine went even harder. Is White safe? Is the front office split? And is Caitlin Clark stuck in the middle of a quiet power fight she never asked to be part of? Some insiders think that tension is exactly why this offseason feels unstable. Because if ownership really picked a direction, the coaching staff might not be as locked in as people assume. And that brings it back to the one thing that cuts through every rumor: money. Billionaires don't get emotional about playbooks. They care about revenue. Packed arenas, media deals, sponsors, big checks. And nobody in women's sports has moved money like Caitlin Clark. When she was unleashed, Indiana's numbers shot up. When her role got smaller, the business cooled down. That's not a hot take, that's business. So the idea that Steve Simon would step in and demand CCT actually fits a corporate mindset. Protect the star that changed your value. Build around what people pay to see. That isn't ego, it's economics. And the Simon family didn't build a massive empire by ignoring economics. If the brand slows, you fix it fast. To be clear, this is all alleged. No one has verified the meeting. But the pattern, the friction, the slowdown, the strategy shifts, all seem to point the same way. And when the dots connect this smoothly, it's hard for fans to ignore. Because this isn't only basketball now. It's about who truly runs Indiana sports, the coach on the floor, or the billionaire upstairs with the last word. If these rumors are real, the Fever aren't Caitlin Clark's team only because she's the best player. They're her team because ownership said so. And if that's true, every coach, player, and executive just got a new power center. One that wears number 22. Think about how wild that is. A 90-year-old billionaire passes control to his son. A once-in-a-generation star changes the money of an entire league. A coach wants her system. And somewhere between all of that, a quiet fight starts over who controls the future of women's basketball in Indiana. It sounds unreal until you look at the timing, the numbers, and the silence afterward. nobody is denying the rumors. Nobody is addressing them either. And sometimes silence says plenty. If even part of this is true, Caitlin Clark didn't just change the Fever, she changed who controls the Fever. And that's a level of influence we haven't really seen before in the WNBA. So maybe this isn't only hoops anymore. Maybe it's power, money, and legacy. And right now in Indiana, all three seem to be pulling toward Caitlin Clark. The big question is what comes next. Because if ownership truly told everyone it's Caitlin Clark's team, next season won't only be about wins and losses. It'll be about everyone getting on the same page. Does Stephanie White adjust and rebuild around Caitlin's strengths, or does this become the last stretch of her run in Indiana? And what happens inside the locker room? Do vets like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston buy into the shift, or does quiet frustration grow behind the scenes? These players are competitors. Everybody wants a bigger role. But if the new plan is built around one superstar, there may not be space for multiple leaders. Fans already think they see the signs: new marketing, heavier Clark-focused promotion, and small comments from executives about maximizing global reach. In plain terms, they're leaning harder into Caitlin Clark. And if that's the direction, expect everything next year to orbit her: sponsorships, messaging, and offensive sets. Because this isn't just the most famous rookie anymore. This is a huge brand with a ponytail and number 22. The Fever might not say it directly, but moves speak louder than statements, and it looks like a major internal shift is happening. One that could shape not only a season, but the franchise's future. So as things settle in Indiana, one thing feels clear: the balance of power has moved, the money is paying attention, and fans can sense it. Now the only question is who's still going to be there when the next tip-off happens.